Hello, wonderful people. It's What's Working Wednesday. And what's working for me is to notice my own emotional strength that has grown and developed and continues to grow on a daily basis. So I want to share with you a bit of a story. If you're feeling right now that you need to be emotionally strong, then this video is for you. Please do listen in and please share your thoughts at the end of the video. One of the things about being a good listener is you have to have the emotional strength to listen to things that are not comfortable to hear. Now, as a professional listener, that might be in terms of, that people go through really tough times. There's some really sad things that happen in their lives. And my job is to listen to them and honour that space, allow them to have the freedom to speak no matter what they're thinking, no matter how ugly or how bad their thoughts or their experience have been, they can express them. And in everyday life, as a listener with my family and friends, I've got to be prepared to listen to things like when they tell me they don't like me or that I've done something wrong. Not necessarily don't like me, but don't like something I've done. And one of the things that in order to have that ability to listen and honour and respect their perspective, their map of the world, you have to be emotionally strong. And I'm just celebrating personally for me today. Book number 1 really took me outside my comfort zone. Book number 2 is doing exactly the same. However, what I'm noticing is that although it's uncomfortable listening to myself and listening to the process, because I'm having to actually listen to myself now, get the book out. It's not easy. It doesn't come out, when people talk about flow. For me, the reason I've realised is because I'm a work in progress and I'm writing about confidence. I'm writing about the emotional resilience that you have to build and develop in order to be able to engage and listen to feedback. Now, when I first started this journey, I thought that I had a sensitivity to criticism, which I did. But I also had a sensitivity to compliments. So whatever protection system I'd put up in order to not listen to the criticism meant it was also deflecting and stopping me from listening to, embracing and holding on to and remembering the praise and the compliments that were coming in as well. And what I've learned over the years is that the getting to know who I am and what works for me and laying down those foundations means that when I chat now, I'm chatting with the purpose of either for me to feel better or for the other person to feel better. That's my purpose. And sometimes I chat with that intention, or I always chat with the purpose of wanting to make the world a better place, make it better for other people, or for me to feel better. Now, sometimes, and this is always the hard bit to find out, is that when I say something, so I might vent and go, oh, you really annoy me because you haven't done X, Y, and Z. That may make me feel better, but it isn't quite so good for the other person. And when I catch myself and I'm chatting with purpose, I'm listening to what I'm saying and I'm comparing it with what I'm thinking. And I'm listening to the feedback that I'm getting. And sometimes I discover that I wasn't thinking a very nice thought, or that the way that it came out was, there was a bit of it just was to make me feel better. And I remember working with a chap a couple of months ago who really wanted to have more patience. His wife had been diagnosed with a really serious illness and things were just going to get worse. And he had lots of responsibilities and lots of change going on in his life. And he found himself being really impatient and intolerant. And when we were modelling, and he found himself criticising his partner a lot, and he didn't want to do that anymore. He wanted to be loving. He's very loyal and he wanted to stay committed and he wanted to get her through this. But he found himself being really critical of her. And what he discovered is that when he criticises her, it momentarily makes her feel better. And I've discovered that there's some of the ways that when I'm criticising myself or other people, it's not useful, it's not really good serving me, but there is a momentary thing of feeling better. And when you discover these things about yourself, when you, I had a lady a couple of months ago as well that I was working with, and she became aware that she would take out her frustration on her children, and she became consciously aware that actually she was frustrated with her husband, but because her husband's an adult, she didn't have the courage or the confidence to address it with him, but she did feel okay with the children because they were minors and she had more of an authority with them. when you start being come consciously aware that this is how you're thinking and feeling, you can have huge amounts of guilt and huge amounts of shame. But when you're doing the work, the point is that those emotions of shame and guilt are just warning lights. And then if you've got the support network in place, if you've got people that are helping you to work through it, you will go, okay, so how can I learn from that? Now I know that about myself. What can I do differently? And personally, what's working Wednesday is what I've worked with my clients over the last few years. If you want to get emotionally strong, then what I've discovered is there's 6 core models and 6 core skills that when you understand how you do them, you will know yourself even better. Hello, Emily. It's lovely to have you on here. We're just talking about 6 core skills and 6 core models that can help you to be emotionally strong. So actually understanding how you work at your best, both individually and with other people. So there's times when we have to work very independently, we have to be very focused, and there's times when we need to work in harmony and collaboration with other people. So understanding what your needs are when you work at your best independently with other people means that when things trigger you, you'll understand what it is that's going on. Understand what you need to learn. Most people are not taught at school how we learn and process. Like Emily and I were talking about the boys, and Harvey is quite sensitive to sound. So some people physically feel sound. Some people, when you talk to them, they visualize it really quickly. Other people don't visualize it, and we all use different language. So understanding how you learn and how you're processing the world, both when you're learning independently and when you're learning in collaboration with other people, when you understand those models, again, when things trigger you, you'll understand why. And the third model is about living at your best. Most of us spend a lot of time being taught how to learn at school, and we're all learning, ready to get a job, to work. But when was the last time you actually sat down and go, actually, when I'm living at my best, that'd be like what? And for me, all of my living models were all around actually with other people. And what I've realised is I never really created a model of what do I do when I'm really living at my best? What do I do when I'm living independently? And so a lot of the things I'm playing around with over the last few months actually have been about, what have I got the courage to do completely on my own? And I realise I don't really have a lot of courage to do that. And so as I'm writing book number 2 and I'm teaching people these models, I'm kind of going, oh, I'm not actually doing this one. So out of 6 models, I've got 5 of them pretty well established over the last 10 years. And now I'm working on number 6. So one of those things I'm doing is going to the ballet on the 25th of October on my own and taking myself out for dinner on my own. And I'll let you know how I get on with that week. So they're the 6 core models. Now the 6 core skills, everything we ever do in life is a decision. So understanding how you make decisions. Are you making decisions the weird conversation we were having, like to protect yourself, or is it in service of you? Is it in service of other people? Is it, if we're making decisions to keep ourselves safe, there's a good chance that we won't grow. And we won't connect, and we won't have the depth of relationships that we want with ourselves and other people. So understanding how you make decisions is a really big one. Understanding how you experience time. We feel like we haven't got enough time, but we've all got the same amount of time. So how we feel about it and the story that we tell about it and how we perceive time. So when you're simple things like how big your diary is. If you've got a diary that's got like a little space like this for a day, and you've got like a week on one page, and you put 3 customer appointments in it, for example, your day can look to you like it's really full. The story you tell yourself about time then becomes really, you're like, oh, I haven't got enough time. And actually it's just because, maybe the thing you're doing is 5 or 6 hours, but actually awake for 15 hours, for argument's sake. Then you have got a lot more time than you think. So thinking about the stories you tell yourself about time. Those who haven't downloaded yet, we have got Tame the Time Monster on the website. So if you go to stepbystep.listening.com/resources, Tame the Time Monster is a free resource that you can download and check your time story, because the way we talk about time isn't real. It's just a story that we've made up, and it's not serving us to work, learn and live at our best with ourselves and each other. And then the other skill is about your planning, which is influenced by how you decide, how you learn, how you work, how you live. If you are creating a plan and it's all focused on your business goals, and you haven't got in there anything for you personally, or you haven't got things in there for your family, then the plan was likely to fail. If you're creating a plan, but you're someone that can only perceive like next week, there's a good chance that every couple of weeks your plan's going to end up imploding, because you'll put too much in there, it won't have the longevity. So you have to think in terms of like a year, and those that haven't done it, the 1 year the 1 Year Plan You Truly Believe In starts again on the 30th of October, is it's a 5-week course where you really start to stretch yourself to think about the year ahead. So that when you make plans today, it's aligned with what you want over the next 12 months. It's really easy to get stuck in doing stuff just for today. So that's the third skill. And then the other 3 skills is listening at your best. None of us are trained how to listen, and it's probably one of the hardest things to listen to somebody who's in pain or upset and not try and fix it for them. And actually learning to be emotionally strong and actually listen to yourself and other people when they're uncomfortable is how it gives them permission to experience those emotions, and then they can grow and learn from them. So this week I was actually working with a friend of mine was actually just having coffee, and her daughter was quite stressed. She's just started senior school and she was really unhappy, and she said, it's not, my life's not working out how I planned it. And basically the change into senior school was really tough. She was finding the homework every night, and the fact that she's now having to get a bus to school, and there's a lot more walking around the campus, huge amounts of change mentally and physically for this young person. And allowing her just to express what was going on for her without trying to fix it, without trying to change it, and just allowing her to have that time and space makes a massive difference. But when we're time poor and we don't plan and we don't organise ourselves well, we often rush people trying to make it better in the short period of time we've got, and then we don't honour them and don't listen as well. So learning how to listen at your best is really, really key. Part of listening is asking questions. So understanding some people just don't like questions. They make them feel uncomfortable. It challenges them. Some people love questions. Some people love asking them but don't like answering them. So understanding how you are around questions, what works for you to be asked a question that challenges your thinking, takes you to the edge of your current thinking. And then the last skill is feedback. What holds all of this together, our learning, our working, is we're going to listen to something, we're going to question it, and we're going to give ourselves feedback about it. We're going to make a judgment on it, or other people are going to give us feedback. When you've got those 12 models all together, so 6 core models about yourself: working, learning, living at your best, and you've got your decision making, listening skills, time, planning, questions, and feedback. That is when I was able to develop real emotional strength. So that no matter what the feedback people gave me, I could take a deep breath, and I'd know that this feeling of shame or guilt or frustration or anger, whatever it is, was temporary. It's going to pass. I know it's part of the process. And that all I have to do is listen to myself, listen to the other person, and then make a decision about what works for me, what works for them, and what works for our relationship. So that's my What's Working Wednesday today. Lovely for you to join me today, Emily. Thank you for participating. I'd love to know from you, those of you that are watching the videos, just let you know, I've got space now for 6 one-to-one clients starting now. If you know over the next 12 months that you want to be emotionally stronger, that in order to run your business successfully, to be a great parent, to be a great mother, to be a great friend, wife, husband, whatever your role is, you know that you're going to have to listen at a deeper level, that doing superficial listening just to the language isn't working. You have to get into those emotional things that quite often we avoid, and you want to know how to listen to those emotions, to understand them, to unpack them and get them to work for you and with you. Then please comment below if you'd like to book a free, no obligation coffee and chat with me, where we'll just find out what's happening in your world right now, find out what you've tried so far, what you think's missing, what kind of support you think you need. And from that, I can let you know whether I'm the right kind of support for you. And if I'm not, there's a really good chance by the end of the call, you'll have clarity of what the problem really is and what the solution is you're looking for. And I might know somebody who could help you, but you will at least go away with a confidence in your next best step to get the support that you need to be emotionally strong for the year ahead. Lots of love. What I'd love to hear from you is what's working in your world. That's what's working for me, is the book's proving to me that I'm emotionally much stronger than I was before, and I'm feeling good for that, and it's great, and I'm loving sharing that with my clients. And if I can help you at all, then please reach out and let me know. Those that are local, I'll also put a link below. There's an event on the 21st of October, Monday, called Drama Free Conversations. Please do pop along and see us there. It's £24, Lysis Hotel in Fareham. Marianne, my trainer from, being a friend and mentor for the last 11 years, was the lady that gave me that very first opportunity to be listened to without judgment, and has taught me most of the tools that I've developed over the last 11 years have come from that source. So please come and join us. Lots of love. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Speak to you all soon.